Good morning, everybody. Please leave comments in the comments section. Hit like and subscribe. This is Tom and the Servant for another Raw Talk. Good morning, Tom.
Good morning, Steve.
Yeah, I haven't seen you too much on, the debates and stuff this last week and all that. And I know that Ranty show's a little bit different now, so it's a different format. So I haven't seen
Yeah,
you around.
it's getting so beat to death, I'm just like, what, where, how much, how long, what can we, how long can we keep going? So, I'm not a fan of repeating myself over and over and doing the same, you know, just basically saying the same thing.
Right, right. They have the same stories, the same crap, the same math, the same angles on the stars and all this crap, right? But like, when do we get to a point where um, we stop even entertaining debates, right? And we just start informing people and say, hey, yeah, there's going to be these trolls that are going to be in the chat that are going to ask you for all evidence after you give them 100 pieces of evidence. They go, oh, what? So you don't have any evidence, and just warn
Yeah,
people about the trolls and just announce that, hey, the flat earth is a fact, man. Grow up and accept it, or you're gonna have a
yeah, they're
rude
all trying
awakening.
to, they're trying to like figure out these tests, like, oh well, if we do this test, then they'll believe. And I'm like, no, no, nothing you do will get anyone to believe. It's because they're in a religion. You just once you accept that they're in a religion, and this is all just religious dogma. Nathan and his gas pressure container. Thermal religious dogma. It's all just words. You're never going to show me the second law of thermodynamics. You're never going to show me any of this stuff. You're just going to start talking about it based on what you do see. So it's all that was the. If you listen to Ranty's last night, I was on there for a little, and that's what I
Oh,
was
good.
talking about. I'm like, it's just all the interpretation of the data, right? We interpret the data as God's design system, right? And that answers every single question.
Oh
Why do
no.
things fall down? Well, because if things didn't fall down, right? Think about the chaos. How would you walk? How would you get from point A to point B if you were like floating or if there was no down?
That's right. This is the way
It's
it has
just
to be.
yeah, exactly. It has to be that way in order, like it just wouldn't make sense. So that's my answer for why there's a down.
Well,
Okay,
this is
you don't
this
wait.
is what bothers me is that like they'll say like, well, what about gravity, right? There's a downward vector. Why does everything go down? And number one, it doesn't. Not everything goes down, right? And number two, right? They act like it's like asking why is fire hot and ice cold, because it is. I don't, I
Even
can't tell you why. I just know
I'll
that
tell
that's
you,
the way it
yeah,
is.
yeah, because God created it so we can have that sensation of hot and cold, right?
That's right.
It's just
That's
so
right.
it's so simple. That's like such a simple. I can't tell you how and why, right? Like I can't. Well, there's this molecule that moves faster and rubs across your skin. Like even what is cold, right? Just grabbing something that's cold. It's so ridiculous how uh, it could even make that happen. So just don't try and break down the why. And I think we
Right.
lost Tom.
What's up, Tom? Oh, did he hang up, dude?
He might have dropped or something.
Better call him back, man. Can I call him back, or will he just
No, I'm up to.
yeah, let me try him one more time. If he had to go, he had to go, but oh well. But yeah, man, these people they're tripping, man. You know? And I just
Yeah, that's why I
don't
don't even bother.
and so like I think like at this point, right? Like I watch some shows now about like gematria and stuff, a little bit. And it's interesting to me. I'm not too deep into it. I'm not like, gonna, dive in or anything. But it's interesting to me how everything lines up, like how they're able to divine the future a little bit, and it's like every angle, right? The Q-tards are saying, "Oh yeah, this great awakening is going to happen," right? The Bible says that the Antichrist is going to come and try to save the world, so that could be the same guy. The Muslims are waiting for the end. the gematria is adding up to where it's the end, right? And it's like all these different angles, right, where it could be the end, right? And I'm at the point now where I'm like, well, if people want to debate me about flat Earth, I just want to announce it, like it's matter of fact. Like, why are we even going there? But if you know, it's not that good of a model, really. If you look at it to where it made any, like, you could have broke that model down anyway, like, let
There's no
alone,
model. It's
right?
the
There's
pattern, right? It's the pattern of the
right.
sky.
And here's the thing, they keep changing it, right? So if you come up with hey, we see too far, they come up with, light bends around a curve to where it looks exactly flat, and then they have some equations, right? And that's just to make it intimidating for regular people, right? But their equations aren't anything special, it's like they make up a new lie every time there's a new discovery disproving it. That's
Yeah, I've been
that's what
saying the
they
same
do,
thing. Yeah, it's you have what we see, right? And this
right?
is where it all comes down to the interpretation of what you see. Like they see the sun move across the sky. That's what we have. Now, if you want to
Yeah,
think that's because the Earth spins, all right. Well, that's not what you see. You don't see the Earth spin. That's your interpretation of what you do see, right? And interpretation of what you do see, that's religious dogma. Or, we see you can see a cat and a dog, and to you that can be evidence of evolution, right? And then to somebody else
yeah.
that can be evidence of creation. So it's all just how you interpret. And this is why science is just a new religion, man.
It
Even the
is.
the Nathan Oakley QE science that they try and push is what is the real science. Is not. There is no real science. You see what you see, right?
Right,
And everything from what you see, you're going to start asking questions like, oh, why do we see it like that? That's the religious part, because you can't say, you'll always be asking why something happens, because you can only see what happened, not why it happened. At
right,
least
right. And they'll always make
we're
up
advancing.
some explanation that they think sounds right, that they want us to accept, and that's all it is. And they make it sound like, oh yeah, science has been going on for thousands and thousands of years, and we've proved everything for thousands of years, making you think that it's old and solid and rock solid explanations, right? But in reality, they're very flimsy explanations. But what they do is they teach you that ball when you're a kid, right? So by the time you're in college, right, you just assume space is real, and then you go into more complicated stuff, right? So you might be studying complex stuff, right? In the sense that it wastes a lot of your time and you got to work hard on it, right? And you think you know
Like
more
reading the
beyond,
scriptures.
right? Yeah,
It's like studying
exactly.
scriptures, right? Spending all your
Exactly.
time in the scriptures and being like, oh, I know more about the Bible than everybody else because I've spent 15 years decoding the Hebrew.
Right.
It's the exact same thing.
What they don't understand is that they're 15 years beyond where it was already a lie. Like, we could prove that it's wrong way before you get to advanced cosmology, like we're not flying backwards from the sun 60 something thousand miles, 80 times faster than a bullet.
Looking back in time,
Right.
as
Right.
we can, if you get far enough away from Earth, you can see the dinosaurs again.
Yeah, well, if you take a time lapse of the sun, right, over the course of a year, it just makes a figure eight in the sky. You would
Yeah,
you would never be able to make that happen. Oh, I gotta answer this. How do I answer it?
accept.
Oh, is that you, or
No, I'm not
it's
doing it.
saying? Oh, it's saying reconnecting, poor network connection.
That's probably good.
I don't know. It sounds good.
Yeah, no, it could just be on the. Don't worry about it unless it drops.
Yeah,
Yeah, this is why it's just so like it's the word, right? Like, and I even made a little video on this, like how you can say God created the world with the word, and
yeah,
people will interpret that however they want to interpret it, and I've interpreted that as the word was the vibration of the matter and yada yada. Or it could be just like how they create their world by just talking, right? They just say, hey, uh,
Yeah.
Here's this, you live on a ball, it's this, it's that, and you know, that's it. They never show it to you. They never, uh,
It's one hell of a
never
trick,
do
though.
anything. They
It,
just talk it into existence, right? They're just like, oh well, that figure eight is because the Earth elliptical motion, right? There you
right.
go. That's yeah. I don't even like the whole. Listen to if you listen to Rick and Ranty's last night, like RC, not RC, it was Babs, uh,
Yeah.
was talking about how like we got to stop attacking the ball. And like there is no ball, right? There's no ball to
Right.
attack. The ball you just created it when you said it. Because if I go outside, I see a flat plane with flat plane orientation, right?
Right. You'd have to
You
assume it's a ball at
exactly. And
some
why do
point.
that?
But everything is just imagination for these guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they
It's
say it
all.
about
It's
us.
all.
Oh, where's your sky daddy? And we're like, where's your center of the earth? Right? Where's the center of the ball? You believe in it? It's so crazy how like, I was talking about this last night with somebody, how you'll become what you hate, right? Now they hate us because we believe in this thing that we can't see that created the earth, right? They mock us, oh, sky daddy, flying spaghetti monster. But then you realize that they believe in something that they cannot see themselves that created the world, right? It's the exact, they become what they hate.
Right. Exactly. Did he hang up again?
No, no, it's
Tom.
you might just be on
Oh,
mute.
there he is. There he is. I thought we lost you, Tom. Tom.
Oh yeah, Tom, if you're talking, we can't hear you. But if you're taking a
Yeah.
break,
Something's up.
yeah, no, that's why that's why they want to keep the debate going, right? That's one of the things
Right.
because when you're bald, when you have this verbal model, right? So if nobody's talking about it or debating about it, you don't, it's not there.
Yeah. It's like this is what I don't understand about it. Right? Is I don't think that these guys that you see all the time that debate the ball, I don't think that their purpose is to win or I think their purpose is just to waste our time.
Create chaos, confusion,
Yeah,
or to look smart.
because
Give you somewhere to go. I'm telling you,
all they're doing is wasting
it's
our
to make
time,
a arena. Hmm.
and
That's why I don't even.
it's like we would benefit more by just doing activism, just informing people. Like, forget the debates. It's a lie, man. We got lied to. Grow up. It's time to accept this, man. If you were never taught outer space and all that, it sounds ridiculous anyway, right? Like, it only sounds ridiculous our ways because you heard it the other way first. And so, like, it's time for people just to understand, look, this is the truth. We don't got time to be messing around with you if you don't understand it, you know?
The one thing good about debates, though, is someone does have an open mind and say they're on the fence, then they really get to see each side and why one side might be more viable than the other. But I agree
Yeah,
with you on a point too, though, Steve. Is that I mean, just all you can do is just tell people the truth. If they don't go research it for themselves, you're not going to convince anybody of anything.
right. Yeah,
You know,
Yeah, don't go debating. Like, yeah, if somebody is open, then it's not like a debate, right? Like when you're debating, you're like defending your belief, right?
correct.
I'm not trying to defend a belief because I'm not preaching my beliefs, right? I'm not telling you to believe in what I believe. I'm saying we can observe the facts. The fact is we observe the flat oriented plane, right? That's fact. No observation. Now, if you want to go with that and create a ball out of it, okay, but just admit that that's going to be belief. You don't see it.
yeah. It's amazing. I don't know
I,
why people wouldn't want it to be true. Like,
well, that's the easy question, dude. Or at least for
is it
me.
really?
Yeah.
What is
Well,
it? Go ahead.
once it's true, then one, they've been fooled. right? So that means that they can be fooled. And if you can be fooled, you can be fooled that there's a creator. And that means if you've been fooled that there's a creator, you're responsible for all the things you've done. And then now
Yeah,
you have to be held accountable.
That's it right there. That's it
yeah,
right there. It reveals your sin, and you can't hide it. You can't get away from it. You can't feel comfy in your sin
yeah.
zone, so to speak.
Yeah, because
I mean,
somebody's
yeah,
watching you.
yeah,
Yeah, that's absolutely true, you know. Like like I always was like okay, so I was a believer, right? I believed in God, but it was like a part of my life, right? But ever since like flat earth and finding out just how deep and the deception goes and all the things that confirm the Bible for being true, and then I started reading the Bible every day, right? Like now I'm there's I'm convinced that I'm being watched all the time by God. Like I would, if I sinned, it'd be in front of God, you know. And whereas before, I didn't really feel like I had that. Like I knew God was there, but I thought He was in another dimension or somewhere else, you know, to help me, you know, or you know, and I was there to love Him, you know. But I didn't had no idea that like heaven could be a physical place on top of the earth. Like that was like a big revelation for me. Like wow, God is up there and He's looking down at us. Like in a even though I know God's with you all the time and everything, but He has a physical spot now in my head, you know, and
And he can influence, right? Like it's not like I
yes,
believe, he's not, people are like, well, why doesn't he do anything? He is, right? Like but the way he works is so unique, right? Like you almost wouldn't know it's.
yeah,
it's
you're
like
right.
someone being broke and asking God, "Why don't I have more money?" It's like, "Well, quit putting it in the casino, quit gambling it away."
That's right.
I'm
No, you're
addicted to
right.
You know,
gambling, but I'm broke. Well, that's
why
Amen.
don't
God's
you
fault,
go to,
right?
why don't you offer to work, right? Have you,
Job,
you're sitting there with a tow truck and you're like, why is nobody calling me? Like, have you put an ad out saying you tow people? No.
right?
Well, then how are people going to know you have a total? You got to do. Yeah, I mean, God helps those that help themselves. Give them something to work with, right? Like if
That's
you give
right.
God
Yeah,
with, He can't help you. But if you put signs all around your neighborhood, like, "Hey, I have a tow truck. You get stuck." God will be like, He'll make somebody get stuck right in front of that damn sign. They'll will
Absolutely.
blow out and they'll stop the truck, their car, looking at your sign, and they'll be like, "Holy shit, I believe in." You put your little Christian thing on there, and they'll be like, "I'm a Christian," and they'll call you, and they'll be like, next thing you know, you've got like a network of people that are like working with you,
yeah.
because it's just, yeah, you gotta give him something. Give him, everybody's looking for God to give them that rope, right? That they
Well,
can pull
see,
themselves out of. Give God that rope that He can pull you out of.
right.
Absolutely.
That's right. Yep. And honestly, we're here for him. It's not the other way around. You know, he's not some genie out of a bottle where I just whenever I need something, I just go to God. Like
Mm,
I'm here for his amusement, you know? Like if we were created by some, lizard god or whatever that eats people, then that's our fate too. We got to deal with it, right? I mean, they made us. We That's what they do. It's their business, right? But like with God, right? It's, we're promised paradise. We don't deserve it. There's a grace period. Uh, there's so much confirmation, right? The Bible is the most scrutinized book on the history of the earth, and it's still holding up, right? Like I would think that you would be like, wow, man, if you can add all the things up of what is possible in the world, right? Like, man, this is a pretty good deal, man. You know, like I don't know, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why I don't really like when what's his name calls this hell, because I'm
Oh
like, yo,
yeah,
you're
me too.
you're you're calling the creation hell, right?
right.
And
Yeah.
I don't think this can't be hell, bro. Like I
Yeah.
can't be in hell right now because like a bull, like one, there would be nothing good in hell. Hell would not be a place that had anything good in it ever. Okay?
Right.
And I've
Yeah.
helped people. I've done good to people and seen the look in their eyes and got them out of like, just helped them out in a situation where they were like frustrated, and it's just like that doesn't happen in hell. Okay? Hell is
No.
only that frustration. So, uh,
I
yeah,
I think
just
that I think that when people are like misguided like that when they're reading the Bible and they say, "Hey, look, I'm going to make Earth hell," I think that their mind is trying to justify themselves to where, oh, there's no punishment if I'm wrong, I could
Well,
take,
that well that
but
is true, Steve, but they're not reading the right Bible for one.
they're,
That's the
yeah,
biggest flaw.
that's
Not
right.
even reading a Bible.
They're not in reality is what it is, and in serious denial.
Yeah, they think they're smarter than God. I mean, the Bible is God's word, preserved, period.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
and he wrote it, like it's written on everybody. Like like if some people like,
yeah,
oh well, what if you never saw a Bible? Like he put the word into everybody, right? So
Yep.
you just you know it, right? And you know he didn't put you in hell, right? You don't. I don't need to know much about my loving Creator, right, to know that He didn't create me and put me in misery. That's not what He
right.
would do. If you would think
Nope.
He would do that, you think he's got to be a pretty a benevolent person, right? A benevolent being. I think he's put us in a place that we it is what we make of it,
Yeah,
and
For sure.
after it's all said and done, there is a place called hell that might be similar to some of the worst scenarios on this earth, but this earth is not the embodiment of all of those forever or in any capacity. No, I think, and to be honest, I think heaven is going to be a lot like earth. I think it's going to be, uh,
yeah.
Heaven is
it's
going
going
to
to
be
be,
on earth
But
it's
our
going to be
bodies,
surprisingly unsupernatural. Is my,
in
I
beautiful.
think, I think our bodies are going to be like because we'll have incorruptible bodies that they don't decay or don't uh, succumb to any kind of erosion, and they're perfect. I think that there'll be a huge benefit that way. But like as far as interacting with each other, who knows? It could just be regular. But like I know that we're gonna feel a whole lot better.
Incorruptible.
Yeah, it totally incorruptible. And like when people bring up, oh, there's suffering on the earth, I don't think, I mean, that's suffering that God tolerates, man, because
yeah, is allowing it.
yeah, we create all the evil on earth. We let the devil in. It's the people. If God was going to get rid of all the evil in the world, he could do it in one snap, but he'd have to get rid of us or get rid of our free will, you know,
Yeah.
one or
Yep.
the other. And so if you can't look at it that way and say, hey, God put us here. He tolerates our BS, right? Because he flooded out a whole bunch of other people, right? Because they were evil, right? They got to the point where they're evil, and that's exactly what's going to happen to us if he doesn't step in. And so he's like really tolerating us messing everything up. The evil comes from us. He's all powerful and all good, but he's like overwhelmingly patient with us for some reason. And we get a million chances, and we get periods of grace. I mean, he can't do more for us.
What did Jesus forgive that guy 70 times? What was it, 70?
Times
70
7.
700?
times 7, 70
Seven,
times
yeah.
7. Yeah. And
But
yeah,
I
and
think
that's
about
what
how
it
many
says.
times you fucked up, right? How many times
Right.
have we fucked up? Oh, I'm
That's right. And
making the
that's what he
same
said
mistake
we got
over
to
again.
do. Yeah. And it's like it's amazing. It's amazing how people can't see that. Like they want to attack it like, oh yeah, well, what about all the murders that happened back in the 1500s? Man, that's people, man. People did that. Don't There's no correlation between
Godless
God and
people.
people. Yeah.
Godless people.
Right, yeah, and it's not even our people. Like they pose as us like controlled opposition. And that's what most churches do. It make us look ridiculous. And because
Yeah,
when
well,
people think of church, they think of the Pope and they think of all that crap.
priests touching
And
kids.
yeah, and that's not us. And it's frustrating.
Absolutely.
Because when we reach out to a person, right, we're not trying to force anything on them. We're trying to save their life, to be honest. Like I don't, if I'm talking to someone about God I don't even know, it's just because I want them to make it.
Right, that's again another a video that I've made. Force versus attraction, right? Like you can't force. a religion or a way of life on somebody, you have to attract it to them. So like the only thing like, and this is why God tells Christians to be Christian like, right? Because if you're talking to somebody, right, and picture you're just having a conversation and they literally hit you in the face, right? Because you said something that triggered them and you could see the devil's anger come out of them, and you just like literally turn the other cheek. So they're going to be like, look, I'm just going to show you this is a better way, and the people will see that, and they'll be
Yeah,
like, yo, look, that dude he just got hit in the face and he just gobbled it up and just like kept speaking to that dude, just like pulled the devil right out of him. That was amazing. Like I want what that guy has, not what the dude that was all uncontrollable and angry has, right? And then you will attract people to. You'll be like, yo, why didn't you hit him? He hit you, and you would be like, well, because if you hit him, you're no better than him, right? Like I become an animal just like he was, and I don't want to be that. I want to be a human. And then the dude, that person might have like some kind of mental like epiphany right there, like holy shit, I've been acting like an animal. I want to be a human, and then bam, you've just attracted a human. And that's why it's like fishing. That's why it's not hunting. Hunting is like forcing. Hunting is you're going out there and you see it, you shoot it. Whereas fishing, you got to use lures and attraction. You got to have it look good.
yeah.
You know what I mean? That's why I think
Make a
God uses
connection.
that. Yeah, God uses he never says we're hunting for souls, right? We never hunt for souls. We always fish for them. He always uses
I
the
like
fishing
that.
parable.
I like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Speaking of fish, did you catch any monsters out there, Tom?
I didn't fish this weekend.
Uh,
Yeah,
did you go
no.
camping at least,
Oh
or?
yeah, oh yeah.
Oh, that's good. Get some peace and quiet.
Yeah, it was nice and relaxing. Did a little drone flying, stuff like that.
Oh yeah, you got
Just
that drone, man. I forgot.
beautiful
Hey,
weekend. His last one, I mean, everything's closed up for the year now. We got freezing temperatures coming in, so everything's winterized and closed up for the year.
yeah, it'd be nice to
Not
do a
here.
test. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say not. We don't no winterizing here.
No, not in Florida. No way. I
Yeah,
lived
just
out.
coming up in a couple of days, our nights are going to be below freezing for several nights.
Oof, that's
I
great.
know.
Yeah,
Well,
that's. I was in the north. I know what it's like.
Where were you at in the north?
New York.
Oh, yeah, yeah, you, okay.
Yeah, we
it
get
gets
winters.
cold up there.
Yep.
A lot of storms and stuff in New York lately. Like the last few years.
Bro, New York is the tidal
Yeah.
wave is gonna hit that.
Yeah.
The
Hey,
sea's gonna eat
I
that
would.
place.
I wouldn't doubt it. New York is one of
Uh,
those special places that has everything, man.
it's
It's
not.
got city living, it's got country living, it's got storms, it's got chaos, it's got it all, man.
Yeah, New York. A lot of people think in New York, and they think when the city's like 1%. Uh,
Yeah,
it's mostly it's just like picture Canada. That's what upstate and out
yeah.
west, yeah, west and upstate New York is just big open country that's cold,
Have
mountains,
you have you
rivers.
ever been have you ever been to like Niagara Falls and all that?
I never went up that far to Niagara Falls. Been to Lake George, which is that's a good 5 hours, 5 hours up there, and went to Maine, which is again real up there. But we stayed at like a little camping resort. But yeah,
I heard that like in Maine it's like mostly like real like conservative religious people. Like Quakers and stuff up there. Is that
like I
true?
said, we were I didn't one. I was young, and we were at a
Yeah,
campground, so we didn't really go into town. But
yeah,
yeah, from what I hear the same thing. Yeah, Maine is very like well, even out there, you got like New Hampshire. There's like Amish people are pretty big in that. Pennsylvania, you got Dutch country out there.
yeah,
So that
yeah.
northeast area is still pretty much
You
like
know,
that. With
you wonder if like these Amish people, right, and like these Quakers, right, that like we think
they're
like
onto something.
right. Like some of us think of them as like weird or whatever, but maybe there was some kind of split, in during the country where they were like, oh no, we're not going along with you guys. Like we know what that's going to lead to, and they just split off 100 years ago, and they're just fine. They're not thinking about no COVID. They're not thinking about no.
Yeah.
ball earth or anything. They're happy believing the Bible. They do their chores, you know, have their little barn dance, and that's it, man.
I mean, it's modified off grid, right?
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
they are off the grid. They don't get taxed. They don't get, like they don't have to be vaccinated. They have their own little school system, and they can even come into town, right, without their vaccines on their buggies
yep.
and such. So, yeah, no, I mean, I got a huge respect for the Amish people. I've always wanted to spend some
But
time out there and, uh,
but it makes you
do,
wonder, though, doesn't it? Doesn't it make you wonder, like, if that's the way they were the whole time, or if during like the whole founding fathers, setting the country up, the Freemasons that were, setting up America, like maybe they just had like, hey, whoa, we're not going with you. We're gonna stay right here with the technology we got, and we know what that's like. Adding another medium, which is like the radio, then you add another medium, which is the TV. Because what that does, this is what that does, right? Is it gives the government, right, a voice in your house, right?
oh, absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
And it's
Access
right, and it's the loudest, most listened to voice is that TV, you know,
to lore,
more than
and
yeah, yeah,
that's the difference between attraction and lore, right? Lore uses an object,
yeah.
something false, something that's not what it is, but it's made to look like it, right? Like
Okay,
you lure a fish with something that looks like it's bait, but it's not its bait. Just like they're using something that looks like the truth, but is not the truth.
that's right. And I used to think I was so smart, man. I'd be watching all those documentaries, right? I'd be like, oh yeah, I know about Christopher Columbus's extra ship and all this stuff, thinking that I was like smart, right? But it's just they're adding on to the BS story that they told us in school. Like there might not have ever been a dude named Columbus, or maybe there was, or who knows, right? Like I mean, we don't know when the ball earth thing started. It definitely wasn't 2,000 years ago, because you would think that smart people over the course of 2,000 years would come up with better stuff, man. You know,
Yeah, no, it's like
it feels like
how
100
old
years
does this
old to
lie?
me.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's what I'm kind of
I
that's
mean,
why
they
I
got
kind of feel like this.
they're like magicians, Chris. It's like they have like 4 or 5 good illusions, and they're nice, and they're entertaining. But once you know the trick, or where the rug pull is, right? It's like, well, now you can't fool me with that no more. And they run out of tricks. They have like 5 or 6 tricks that they do. And it's
Bro,
like, okay,
their best trick is to get you to fool yourself.
right.
With the ego and with the that's why ballers always swear they're so fucking smart, right? Oh, you just don't understand. Yeah, I don't understand. Yeah, that's it.
But don't they
That's why.
understand? Don't they understand that if they gave up the ball, right? If they really consider themselves smart people, if they gave up the ball and all the bull crap and accepted flat Earth as the truth, they could be smart about other stuff. Like they don't need to hold on to the ball
Yeah,
to
they got to start over. Then you got to start all
right.
over, right? And then but before you do that, you got to admit come on, could you imagine Professor Phil, yeah, Professor Phil might eventually like become one of the best flat earthers, like damn, dude, Phil actually figured out a flat earth model that works, right?
Yeah, I
Like,
mean, if he taught
who
flat Earth,
knows?
like yeah, if he taught flat Earth, like he would be one of the more famous flat earthers.
But he'd have to admit he's wrong first.
That's
And the
right.
ego, I don't think his ego would ever let him do that, like just like Nathan, right? Nathan's never going to change up anything, you know,
Right.
because,
Yeah.
he's already said it. Why would I do, what's in it for
Well,
me?
I think
That was his
I
exact
think
words.
I think Nathan understands that like his flat Earth thing is a show. It's so people that like get frustrated
Entertainment.
by ballers. Yeah, yeah, it's entertainment, man. People that get
But
frustrated by ballers tune into to Nathan's, right? There's some good arguments, and if you're new, you'll learn something. You'll at least see how dishonest ballers are. But mostly we listen to hear him, yell at the ball, I'm gonna teabag you, blah blah blah. It's a release. Oh yeah,
oh
get
yeah,
him,
yeah.
you know.
It's like a
And
drug.
Yeah, and then you get what you need out of it, and then you stop watching, but then a couple weeks later you'll watch it for like 10 days straight or whatever. And I don't, it is what it is, right? But he's not going to be the pioneer. He's not going to write any books. He's not going to be the guy to, he's not Eric Dubay, You know
Yeah,
what
he's
I
not going to
mean?
push it forward into the like Pete Shea, give him a tad of credit, but he's still kind
Yeah,
of he'll just revert back. But like, yeah, what is the next step, right? And then the next
yeah,
step is really like one to not just keep debating about the flat Earth, but to be like, you know, it's really when you compare it to a mindset, right? Like the flat Earth is, it's the mindset of like I see it, I believe it, creator. Uh, if I'm gonna believe in anything, I'll believe in the creator. Whereas the ball Earth is like, puts human and man at the top in the forefront. Oh, we
uh,
figured this out. We because they created the Earth, right? Like when you think
yeah.
about it, because if you showed up on a place, right,
We came from
and
mud.
yeah, well, it's like, look, we figured it out. Therefore, they did in essence create it, right? Like
Yeah,
in essence, when you think about it conceptually and realistically, they
right.
did create the earth because it's their story that they made up. So
Yeah,
just like God created the actual earth, actually, they created the story that people believe. So the devil does get a creation, you know, check mark for that. But yeah,
sure.
it's the religion, and then people
But
they get sucked in
how did they convince people that they were flying and moving all over the place?
subtly, right? Like
You know?
it was all done as just presented as factual, like with the movies and the you know the little, oh, something flew by our, you know what I mean? It was all just said because if
Mhm.
you sit somebody down and you just give it to them all in one big, you're on a spinning ball in space with water stuck to it, and they'd be
Yeah,
like, what? So you just kind of do it like slow, like, oh, this Earth, we're on this huge,
planet.
it's
Yeah.
just, yeah, it's a
See,
process. It's just like how they're
see,
getting people to put a mask on.
I mean, up until I was like, 40 years old, right? I never pictured I knew that the Earth was mostly water, right? But I never thought of the Earth as a water ball with some land stuck to it, I always
I
thought
never
of it
thought
as a
about
big
it.
rock. Like, oh yeah, the Earth is a big rock, and it pulls everything to the center, and that makes sense. But what doesn't make sense is that the water making up most of that curve because water is unbonded, right? And if everything's being pulled to the center of Earth, that means that there's a mound of water between Hawaii and California that's miles and miles high, right? But if it's not a rock, it doesn't just form like that. It's loosely bonded. It can't be in that formation. It can't be in that curve form. It'll have to flatten out. You
Yeah, it would
know.
work. Yeah, the middle would start moving towards the sides, and
Right.
however it would work, that's what it would do, right? And they're just trying to
Right.
tell you, no, 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 no. And they're just saying, no, it won't.
Exactly, because
And you're just, it's
if
all they
everything's
have. And then they'll tell you that's what you have.
because if everything's being pulled to the center, right? Yeah, I can buy that if the whole world was a ball and all the water was on the outside of it. Okay, maybe you're selling that to me, right? But if you're saying that the water makes up a chunk of the curve in the ball, then it it can't stay in that shape. It has to be pulled to the center, you know? And
Yeah, it would
so
fly.
it'll be flat. You'll have flat spots, right?
That's why the universe is flat, which they'll
Unbelievable.
say.
These people are so ridiculous, man. And then to have the
And
balls to say that
bro,
we're
this is and this is what makes me like know that there is there has to be a creator and there has to be something like if he has the truth, there has to be the opposite, like somebody who just
yeah,
has a complete lie and swears it's the truth. And I'm like, yo, if the world was real, right? If we all evolved with a brain, right? Like, because evolution, right? Survival of the fittest, then how is everybody believing in this bullshit? Right? Shouldn't everybody should be like we should be the
exactly.
smartest we've ever been and start picking through this, but they're not. So it's
Right.
just it's something else, and yeah, it's
If
just
if it was really survival of the fittest, there would be no Social Security, there'd be no disability for people. It'd be like, oh, they gotta die because they're not strong enough to, if that's really how it
Exactly.
was, right? Yeah, if we're really evolving, we're not gonna help the weaker people, right? Nope, we're
No
just gonna,
vaccines.
yeah, no
Yo, sorry.
vaccines. Yeah, wow,
Sorry,
why are we
guys.
trying to save people, man? What are you talking about? Survival of the fittest, only the
Yeah,
yeah.
evolution, man. Don't do nature's job. Let nature make the vaccine by, killing off all the people that didn't don't live.
That's right. Things
Yeah,
evolve, man. That plant will just become medicine one day, because we need it, you know.
yeah,
That's ridiculous to even think about that, right? It's ridiculous the only reason why you would make up a story like that, right, is because you don't want someone to know the real story, you know. That's the only way, because there's no way to put that all together, uh, by reverse engineering or anything, because there is nobody in the middle process of evolution. There would be people at all stages of evolution. There'd be people that are
yeah,
half monkeys. There'd be people that still are monkeys. There'd be people that are like 90% human with 10% monkey. Like it would never be okay. Well, now it's a completely separate species. Now that's completely separated. It would be a continuing process, right?
yeah. It wouldn't happen like once the first one was born. That's all the other ones kind of like get the download and then start birthing the new one, right? It's
Right,
just
right. The,
there would be the first
it's
one would have to then go find another one, and then you would have a whole bunch
yeah,
of these, like you said, in betweeners. So it's
sure.
such a ridiculous, but again,
Yeah,
it's some
because how do you
is some
assimilating back? How do you keep them from assimilating backwards? Like, let's say one guy he's not a real popular half monkey, and he's like, well, I'll just date a full monkey because I can get a fine full monkey, but not a fine whatever
yeah,
he
yeah, not a
is.
three quarters.
Right, right, right. He's like, oh, I'll just date backwards, I'll just date backwards because I get finer chicks, or I
Yeah,
mean, I know that's
yeah,
stupid,
it
but
wouldn't work. It just
that that's
it
how
wouldn't.
men think, like, I mean, I don't know how you would be able to say, because the way they describe evolution as being all these minute little changes that happen little by little, right? Well, if you're not that much different from what you've come from, then it's easy to
You
assimilate
can go
backwards,
back. Yeah, sure, why not?
right?
They like
I
to
mean,
think it
it's
only could go
dumb,
forward.
right? And that's ridiculous. That's
Well,
ridiculous to think that
the
way.
thing is, you with it's like with a habit, right? You can't really stop a bad habit unless you kind of start a new one, right? So it's like
Yeah.
they can't have people if people aren't going to believe in God, well, what are they going to believe in? Because if you leave nothing, right? If you don't have if they were just like, well, how did the world get here? And they were just like, oh, but it wasn't a
God or
creator.
nothing. Yeah.
Well, all they would have would be it's not God, and then
Yeah.
inevitably people are going to be like, wait, why can't it be a God though? And they would be like, because it's not. And then they would be like, but then how did it get here? We don't know, but not God. So they got to have something, right? So that's where they come up with this Big Bang bullshit. It's like, oh well, there was a cosmic explosion billions of years ago, right? And then they just start talking and talking, and like 35 minutes later, you know,
That's
after like dark
that's
matter and quasars, the person's
oh
like in
my God.
a deep alpha mode. Their
It's
brain
so
where they're being hypnotized.
it's so
But it's something.
ridiculous how far out and how theoretical that they will actually go. Like they'll
Yeah,
work
yeah.
on all this black hole equations and super gravity and all that, like without ever seeing anything close to a black hole, but like be immersed in it. Like I couldn't study
Reading
like
scriptures, right? They're translating scriptures for years and years and years.
yeah,
That's
that's what
that's
they're
what
doing.
those people are. It's the
It's
same.
literally the dumbest thing you could believe. Like out of all the stories and all the religions and all that, I mean, there's one in China where we came out of an egg that's better than this, man. You know? Like
Hey,
this is just ridiculous, man.
something from nothing.
Yeah, it's
And it's the one
crazy.
that again. It's because it comes more down to uh, the knowing of the creation, right? Like, so who knows the creation better? Is it God or is it the devil? Now, the devil knows that there's certain, like how a dog likes to chew things, right? So if you give a dog, something that's good to chew, like rubberized against something that's hard, he'll pick the rubberized one.
Yeah.
So humans have like certain uh, quirks like that, like the quest for knowledge, the understanding of how things work, blah, blah, blah. So it's basically like the devil trying to lure people into eternal death by manipulating and playing on their base wants and needs. And God is doing the same. He's playing on our base wants and needs, but trying to uh, draw us back into salvation.
Yeah. That's it.
Oh,
Praise
yeah,
God,
he'll just
man. I'm glad that I figured this out before, it was too late,
too late.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like I'm just glad that it's like all confirmed inside of me, like man, this is a good feeling because I know this isn't the end. This is like, the beginning.
yeah. This
And what
is
and in reality, once you're not afraid of death, right? Once you're not afraid of death, there's nothing to be scared of ever.
yeah. No, and then it just becomes a management, right? You just have to manage all of the uh,
Yeah.
I guess it'd be like, the devil trying to fuck with us, like
Yep.
take what we got and we have to like manage what he's doing and not lose faith and,
That's
just
right.
keep pushing ahead.
I have a very, very strong feeling, like I'm in the 80% range now that we're going to be out of here pretty soon. And I know that that's,
I think we
it's
got
hard to
years,
say.
man. I think we got
And,
years.
and maybe we do, but, just
That's why I'm
getting,
just like, just never think that it's, I think a lot of people, especially in the end times, and that's one of the reasons why the, Bible's like, don't worry about when it's going to end.
yeah,
Because then you start doing the musical chairs thing where you stop doing what you're doing and you start looking for a place to sit down, right? And like
yeah,
the thing is, who cares when it's going to end, right? Like the only people that care really when it's going to end are the people that don't have their aren't
clinging on to
truly
life.
repentful. Yeah. So if anybody who's got 100%, it's like basically they're like, yo, let me know when dad's about to come home so I can start cleaning up my act. And I'm just like, look,
Right,
no,
right.
nobody knows when he's going to come home, so you might as well just start behaving now, right? And just
Yeah,
doing all
yeah,
the things right. And yeah, so that's where I'm at. I'm just like, yo, I don't care when he comes back. He might, because coming back, I don't know what that means. I don't know
yeah.
if like, so I have to keep just doing what he wants, which he didn't say just sit around and wait for me to come back. That, I
Well,
don't
he
read
said
that. It
not.
was the whole,
He said not to bury your talents. Don't bury your talents. You gotta keep trying to get fruit until it's time.
yeah, go
But
go forth,
but
be fruitful and multiply, So I think he still wants us to keep trying to bring our numbers up, and
try to
do
save,
things.
try to get people saved, and have an awareness of the signs and the seasons, so that we're not ignorant of what the devil's doing. But we're supposed to really just live our life and enjoy what he has for us.
Yeah, and talk about them, like to, like praise, that's why, like,
Yeah.
again, that's where it's like if you're living like through him and in the right way, let's say you just have somebody over for dinner and they're not really Christian and you just like, we're just going to say a little prayer before the food, just to thank for it. And they'll be like, oh, okay, whatever, and then, they kind of plants to see like, oh, it's kind of cool how they're thankful for their food and, and then God and then like, oh, creator, blah, blah, blah. And next thing you know, you don't know.
Yeah.
You just, all you can do is uh,
I
live
always
the
want like
way and like
I always want people to like see that how happy I feel, and be like, wow, I want to feel like that, like or
yeah,
or
that's
you know,
forced. You could never,
or
be like,
like
oh, look
I
how
want
happy I am. All you
right.
can do is live in your
That's true.
own
That's
life, being
true.
happy, and then
Well,
let people observe that.
I was always thinking like with me and Tom doing the show and everything that like we'd just be a couple of dudes, a couple of Christian dudes talking, and we'd keep it pretty tight, but like we wouldn't always be talking about scripture. We talk about other stuff, you know, so that like someone could just come along and say, "Hey, man, I want to be a part of that conversation," you know. Like I want to like join and talk to these guys, man, and be able to do what they're doing, you know. That's what I thought like we were gonna do, and it was like that, and it still is good in that way, you know, where people are wanting to be involved. But I think like I don't know, maybe bigger groups or something, bigger groups of people talking would be cool. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it's you know, you can always try and just do it in like, you know, reality, right? Like, you know, basically like a church, you know, as long as it's you know, because basically Nathan's is like a church. They
Yeah,
have a mass every day, and you know, they have their lead preacher, blah blah
yeah,
blah. So,
yeah.
you know, I mean,
Huey
yeah,
visits once
it's
in a while, you know.
yeah, we have a guest speaker today.
That's yeah, that's their guru that shows up once in a while, right? You know.
Yeah, so you know, I mean, it's not again, I don't really think it doesn't matter too much. You can be online, you can be in person, you know. But again, what you know, what you're talking about, how you're talking about it goes. You know, you just don't want to. I don't think, you know, I don't think God wants people gathering every day to talk. You know, blah blah blah. I think He'd rather have us
Yeah,
going out there and doing stuff.
we should be changing the subject every once in a while and moving forward, you know. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
like the best things that I like about like you know watching like Arwen's and Nathan's and stuff is that the in the chats in those chat boxes are the open-minded people, you know. And if you get past the trolls and you know the people that just kind of believe in flat earth just because it's fun, right? If you get to the people that are really seeking answers in life, you know, those are the people that will be receptive to this kind of thing, you know. And I could help them get to somewhere, and you know they can help me. You know, it's just you know, there's not that many real people in the world, Chris, that are like that. You know.
No, yeah, no. It's you gotta again there, but I would say a lot of that comes from dealing with online people. Like most of the people online are just, you know,
Yeah.
I don't know. It could be the same in real life. You know, I've kind of met a couple, you know, a
True
bunch of the
that.
people that I meet are basically retarded in real life anyway. So,
Right.
you
Right.
know, yeah, maybe that's just the
I'm like,
world, bro.
hey,
Maybe there's
it,
really not that
it
many,
is.
and you know,
It
you got
is,
to open a
man.
lot of
Because
cans of Coke before you get a winner.
well, I'm like you, man. I like I'll meet somebody, man, and I'll get my hopes up, right? I'm like, oh man, this guy's smart, man. This is gonna be great. Then we start talking, and then you know, all of a sudden this guy's off the wall, man, or something, you know. And I'm like, oh man, what did I do here, man? You know, like I'm starting to lose. You know,
Oh
we do
yeah,
meet a lot.
that's part of the plan. Well, and that's also why I think that the you know God is saying like, yo, go out there and you know you gotta multiply, man. Make a lot more of yourself if you're in my image, right? Because the devil's out there and he's pumping out these freaking tranny free Martin clones like there's no fucking tomorrow,
That's
dude. Right?
right.
He's just like
That's right.
flooding the market, right? So everywhere you go, you meet one of these. You know, that's why I think like Christians always had a lot of children, and they knew they're like, yo, look, we're getting outnumbered here, man.
Yeah,
Everybody,
big time,
everybody's
big
seven or
time.
eight kids. Everybody, we need it, you know.
Yeah. I honestly believe it's like that, man. Like I honestly believe it's like you know we might be outnumbered by 90%, man. Like
Oh yeah,
and
yeah, absolutely.
you know like there might be everybody in the world in on it, and like very few of us that are like trying to figure it out. You know, like I know
No,
that's paranoid thinking, right? But I'm just saying like I'm at the point now where I don't reject anything. You know.
they fooled everybody on the shape of the earth. You can't think they can fool people on the people of the earth.
Well, do you think
Yeah,
that like do you think that like there are ballers out there that know that it's flat, but they get off somehow by you believing
oh
it?
yeah,
I want to get them
absolutely.
to believe it. You know, that's my.
That's the
I'll never
that's the
believe
only
it,
thing
but I.
that's fun first. You know, that's how these like, and that's the aspect of when you're like have nothing left to do. What can you do? And it's like, oh, watch me convince this idiot that you know the moon is made of cheese. I mean, oh, you can't do that, right? And then you're just like, you know, you start this huge fucking like thing. And next thing you know, he's like, "Did you know the moon is made of cheese?" And they're like, "Oh my God, he believes that I can't. Yeah, how did you do that?" Yeah, it's just
It's
if you don't believe your
unbelievable, man.
senses, well, that's how
It's
you
just
can
unbelievable.
pick them
Yeah,
out so easy.
they got us to the point where we don't trust our senses, you know, and well, I do now, but like, you know, they had us at a point where we don't trust our senses. They feed us all kind of heavy metals and they have all this Wi-Fi microwave crap going on. We're being cooked from the inside probably. We're being chemicals dumped on us. There's crap in the water. They're feeding us plastic, you know. I mean, it's like pretty much they're killing us, you know, and nobody is noticing it, you know. And when you point it out, they look at you like you're crazy, man. You know?
Well, that's what again, it's eating healthy and like being like sin free and saying your
Yeah.
blessings before food eating it's like all important, so you won't get all
Right.
like blinded like doing some cleanses, some fasts, you know. Who knows, maybe
Yeah.
that's even why God had put like fast in the Bible. He knew there'd be like junk food, as you got older and you'd have to like give
I
your
mean,
body 7 days of not putting any of that junk in there to get it all out.
it's probably good for you to do that, you know? It's probably good for you. And then like it says in Proverbs, you know, like things might taste sweet to the lips, you know, but your mouth will be filled with gravel if you eat it, you know. And
Yeah.
you know, I'm sure the devil knows that sugar is a drug, man. You like if you eat sugar, you crave sugar all the time, you know.
Oh,
And they
sugar's
just
good.
that's how they
It's like salt
it
too.
is.
Salt can,
It
with the
is.
taste.
It is, you know. And but it's
Food.
like it's
Yeah,
like
food
it's
is
like
good
I
in
feel like
general.
we're just so uninformed, you know. I feel like they know what all this stuff does to us. Like say like you have something in like, you know, a cupcake that's like you know, you can't pronounce it, but you know, it's not bad for you, but it really doesn't need to be in there, but no one's going to throw up any kind of fits, right? And then you read something on your fruit snacks, right? And there's something in there that you know, same thing, right? It's not good for you, but it's not bad for you either. But then you eat a Twinkie and fruit snacks together, and that's incredibly bad for you to mix them. You know, like it could
Yeah.
be that kind of thinking. You know?
And somebody else had told me a good point. They were like, "Well, how does your body even know to process that stuff? Right? Like that's not natural stuff. Your body's supposed to process like an apple, things in the apple, like all
Yeah.
these. Your body doesn't know what to do with a pill. It's not how to process
Yeah.
a chemical pill. So who knows if it even does process it or if it just kind of gets stuck in our body somewhere.
We're supposed to eat live food. You know, food that used to be alive. We're not supposed to eat Twinkies. You know, that's never been.
Yeah,
You know, that's never
yeah,
been. Yeah.
that's another direction. I think the conversation should go is about like diet and health.
Yeah.
That's. But again,
Yeah.
something nobody. There's no. Uh, you're not going to get a whole bunch of fat people that sit at home, in these debates talking about what's healthy. That's
Yeah.
again,
True.
that just shows they don't care. If I've done videos on like food and health.
Yeah.
I doubt and most other people haven't because they could care less, right? They don't care about anybody actually being healthy.
Right. Yeah.
So it's
Well, it
all
used to be
this.
like I used to think that like during my grade school years, you know, I would get bullied and stuff like that. I used to think like that was like the worst part of my life, you know. But like now that I look back on it, right, I made so many changes to myself based on my enemies, you know. I've actually made myself a better person, right? More from what my enemies have brought up to me than my friends, you know? Because we're all taught to cuddle each other, you know? Like, oh, no, you look great, you know? Don't worry about it. But if you have somebody telling you the truth all the time, you make changes to yourself, you know? And
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
and you know, and I'm like, yeah, I don't like bullying people. And when I see people get bullied, it bothers me. It really bothers me inside. But some of that is almost necessary, you know? Like, sometimes you need to be razzed a little bit to have some kind of motivation to change, you know? I
But
don't know.
and yeah, hey, God'll do it. God'll, he'll shake you
But
up. He's
he'll,
not above putting something in your life that
right.
really
Yeah.
shakes, changes everything, or makes you, gives you a reason to change.
Right.
Just, yeah, well, because if he knows the creation, he knows how it's going to react, and if he can control the situation, that can kind of show you what he's trying to show you, and yeah, he's going to do it.
I think
You
we're
got
gonna
to be
be.
like,
I think we're gonna be amazed, brother. I think when we see it all, we're gonna be amazed, man.
yeah, I'm sure he's got
Like,
a hell of a plan cooking in the oven right now.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, I think about the devil's plan. You can the devil's his is a lot more in your face. Lie about this, lie about that, use this to convince people about this. And I'm like, yeah, it's pretty elaborate. It's very elaborate, right? And the
And if
devil's
you
plan
and
is
if
extremely elaborate.
and if you
Yeah,
think of
and God's
if
must be so much better.
well, if you think about how the devil is, right, he's always doing the opposite of what God does, right? It's always the exact opposite, it seems like, right? Well, if you're seeing how the devil system is right now, all the lies and deceit and mistakes they make, they're not even slick about it. They leave all these errors and all that. Like, imagine God's is it like the polar opposite of that. No mistakes. Everything's perfect. Everything lines up. There is no lies, right? Like that starts
Reality.
sounding real good. Yeah, that starts sounding
That's
real good.
reality.
It is, and I really do believe that there are people there in life that if God told them, that they could see heaven and everything and they could see the punishment and God would say, okay, you know what, I'm going to give you a last chance or whatever. I believe there's some people that wouldn't take it, that they would just go off to punishment, because
They think
their
he's lying.
pride. Yeah, yeah,
They think he's lying.
something inside of them is insecure or not developed, or they went the wrong way on something, and you're like,
I've said it before. The devil will convince them, right? Like, when it's nothing but lies, right? And the devil has got you so like in lies. Even if Jesus came to you and was like, "Yo, I can save you," you would think he's lying, right? And that's why it's so important to, they don't just say, uh, God is the truth, just because, like, if you don't have the truth, you can get caught up in lies.
that's right. And the reason why we're in all these problems in the first place is because people have rejected the truth over and over and over and over again because they don't want to hear it.
Yep.
And next thing, once you let that in and you start rejecting the truth of the matter, then you have nothing else left.
You don't have
And
that gate. Where's your horizontal, right?
right, right,
Where's your
right.
moral horizontal that you compare what you do? And they don't
You
have
know
it.
what? Someone said to me, it's the line is straight, but the space around it is curved, and
Oh, fuck
so
that
the line appears
nigga.
curved. And I'm like, what are you saying, man? So the line is straight, but the space time around the line is curved. So the line looks curved, but it's really straight.
Hey,
That is
yeah, no, if
unbelievable
that's
gymnastics.
this is what, yeah, and they say that it's ridiculous to believe in a creator. So,
Yeah,
it's all
man.
comes down to like, your interpretation. You interpret that line as straight, but curved because of space time. All right, well
Yeah.
then,
He said
what am I gonna do to change that?
He said the line is straight, but the space around it is curved.
Bro, you think that fucking Craig fight the flat Earth? This mother effer he straight out, bro. He just whipped it out straight as curved. like,
Right.
that's what he said. He was just like, yeah,
Like,
because a straight line is curved. Like, he didn't try and put any like sauce on it. It was just
no,
bun
he just
straight
del-
curved.
he just declared it. This is what it
Yeah,
is.
yeah. He didn't
It's a
try and
it's a
like put
natural
an
law.
explanation.
It's a natural law. Straight is curved. It's
Come on,
it
everybody.
says
You learned this in third grade. Well,
right.
yeah, you don't remember
You
that,
want
Chris?
an hey, but it's like you want an explanation for why some things go down, right? But you don't want to tell me why your curved line is straight. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're asking me for ridiculous stuff. The reason why dense things go to the ground is so that we can actually survive on this
I
area.
think
You know,
I
we
think you
wouldn't
got to watch that,
survive.
man. Watch. So when it was Bev and Fight the Flat Earth, and Flat Earth is just saying straight as curve, right? And he's saying this Like he knows he's not stupid. Like he's a
Right.
ringleader. The ringleaders are never
Of
that
course.
stupid because they're
Right.
using the idiots. So I think he just got off on saying like straight is curved, and then hearing all these morons agree with him just because they think he's some kind of like again, when you got like 30,000 subscribers, which isn't even a lot, but for a flat Earth community thing, it's a lot. And so they're looking at him like he's like a celebrity, like oh my god.
Right.
And then if
Right.
the celebrity goes straight and it's curved, you're going to be like, wait,
Right.
Slash said that straight is curved, or Tom Hanks thinks straight. Yeah, yeah, of course, yeah, I want to be like them, and it's just
That
so
is just.
so fucking follower stupid.
It's so crazy, man. I couldn't let somebody punk me like that. Like have me believe in stuff like that just so I could be part of the group, you know? Like, oh
Right?
no, man.
What a
I'd much rather be alone, dude. You know, I'd rather
yeah,
be the only man thinking that the earth is flat than be, you know what I mean?
Wow.
Than
It's not even that. It's just think it's straight is straight, right? Like, they didn't even go into like the shape of the earth yet.
I mean, that's the
It was
simplest thing.
just
If they can convince somebody that straight is curved and
exactly.
they're the same thing, then there is nothing we can say to teach them that
Well, let me tell you
the ball,
something.
you know?
Voltaire, one of my favorites, he said, if you can convince somebody of absurdities, you can get them to commit atrocities.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just what he look,
I,
just look at they're these people are ready to kill a flat earther or send him to prison because he's for child abuse, right? Because they think
yeah.
straight is straight.
Costing people their jobs, you know?
Because they think straight is straight.
It's unbelievable, man.
Imagine that.
You know,
Whoa, 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 whoa.
they want all this intel on somebody's background and everything, you know? Like that's unbelievable, you know? I
Hey,
mean, it's
that's
unbelievable what they want to do, you know?
guys. The truth is nobody wants the truth in a world of lies.
Yeah,
If your company name was like Flat Earth Construction, right? What do you
yeah,
how many phone calls do you think you're going to get?
yeah, none,
I mean,
man.
you'll get them from the flat earthers, I'll tell you that,
Yeah, you'll
right?
have a loyal network of people.
Yeah. So, and no, again, that was one of the things I was thinking. I'm like, you know what? Like, maybe just like advertise all of the shit that people say, that they hate. Like what if the name of your company was like Pro Life Plumbing, right?
Right,
And people they're looking through the paper, right? And they're like, fucking Pro Life Plumbing, fuck you, Pro Life Plumbing. But then there's going to be that one person, right, that they don't
yeah.
really know much about. But they're like, wait, this guy's pro life? Huh.
Right.
Fuck it. You know what? I'll just go with
Oh,
him just because he's pro life. And
it's
then
called
you
that's
just
eh, presidents get elected for that kind of stuff. Oh, I'll just go with a guy that's pro-life. You know, that's the main issue for me. That's a lot of people say that. You know,
for me,
and it's like,
and that's why Trump is using that. I would assume he's
eh,
playing on that.
he's my favorite character in the game, but I know that
Oh yeah, yeah. I know he's a character, but yeah, I like
there's no
him
way. Right, right,
too.
yeah,
He's fun,
he's a good
bro.
little character, right? But I'll tell you what,
Gets the
there's no way
COVID.
that,
He
yeah,
says he's got COVID. Then he comes out 3 days later. He looks exactly the same.
yeah, like Superman, you know. But
Yeah, exactly.
it's like this, right?
Megatron.
Like I'll never believe that he wants to represent me and help me,
Oh, he'll
and
eat your
I will.
child, bro. If you left your kid alone with him, you'd come back. He'd have its head in his mouth.
Yeah, it's insane, right? Like I wouldn't, like this is like I was in the military, right? So I took voting real seriously because a lot of people, I just figured a lot of people had to die for me to have this right to vote, you know, and like I was thinking that like it's a thing that I have to do whether I want to do it or not, you know, even if I vote for my mom, right? It's something I got to do, right? But now I think it's just the way they get you to consent to having somebody represent you, you know. I don't want anyone to represent me, man. You know? And
Yeah.
I almost want to I almost think that the only way to protest is not to vote, you know?
Yeah.
You
Well,
know what I
hey,
mean?
not doing something will always be uh, an option, right?
Yeah, and I think that it's like why should I have to you make my decision based on who's the least worst, you know? Well, why do I have to be like these are the best two guys you can come up with in all of the whole world in the country? I mean, get out of here, man. You know, like if there is a guy that's better, they're not going to pump him up. You know, and so
Oh, absolutely. No.
they make it really obvious that your vote doesn't count. We have this all selected. Everything that's going on right now is theater because there's going to be something funny with the election. Someone's going to win in a weird way, or something's going to, some ballots are going to be found later, or it's going to be something crazy to just get us more divided, and they're making us aware of it out in the open now,
Absolutely. Yeah, no,
it's
it's a
crazy.
joke. I mean, if people don't see it, that's why I'm like, look, I'll talk to people, about certain things, and if like they're not open to like any of them, then hey, look,
Yeah,
clearly you're move on. It's like a fishing spot, right? Like if you were at a person, picture a person's like a fishing spot, and you drop something, and you get something out of them, right? And they're like, and you're like, oh, okay, huh, interesting.
we'll
All right,
come
yeah, no,
back.
I'll come back. And, yeah, I'll come back to you, and we'll talk about something. But if every time you talk to them, it's just fucking blank stares and then you would just don't waste your time. So
Yeah,
and then that's I know you've always kind of like think about, oh, when do I
give up
go, when
on
do I
somebody.
not go, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
that's
hard
how I
for
would
me to
used to
give
look
up.
at it.
It's hard for me to give up on somebody even after I know that they are probably gone. Like why I just keep trying to help, trying to get them over the edge, and it's a little frustrating. I mean, I think it says more about me than it does about them. That I'm willing to work with somebody, but I really should be dedicating my time with people that are open and wanting to change, because then I could help them. If not, then I'm not really helping anybody.
Yeah, no, that's the devil knowing how people
Yeah,
behave. You know what I mean?
and that's why they throw all these trolls in front of us to debate in the chats to waste our time, man, to waste our time. You know?
Exactly. And yeah, that's again, that's why you're not going to see me as much, in the chats or the debates or
I want you to stay in contact with me, man. Though anyway, because
Yeah,
things.
no, I'm always, I'm going to keep the channel. I thought about like, exiting stage right or whatever. And, but I'm like, I got like I said, a pretty good group of people that, watch my
Yeah,
material. And, so
benefit. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, sure. I'll keep putting material out. And like I said, I still have this, I would like to end on the road. I have this roast I got. It's like 6 minutes. I want to get up to like maybe 15. And,
yeah,
and then that'll probably be my last, like, flat earth, I don't want to keep, and it's just something, it's just so,
yeah,
just try talking to any of these morons and you're just, it's the same evidence. What is evidence? Sun setting, how do you know? Blah, blah, blah. I'm just like, okay, dude,
yeah. They would
somebody
never
else.
they would never accept that from us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But anyway,
They would never accept the sun moving into, some measurements
right,
for a
right.
flat earth, but it'll work for them.
All right, man. Thanks for coming on, man. I'm glad to hear your voice. And
Yeah, yeah, good talk. I got a couple actually that whole God helping you, you got to give God something to help you, right?
yeah,
Instead of asking him, for the rope. That's I might try and expound a little bit on that idea, but yeah, that's
yeah,
why it's always good to have talks and stuff on
yeah.
something, move past the same old rhetoric, you know.
Yeah, it's just a matter of fact, man. The Earth is flat, man. Lies on TV. Everyone's a tranny. Everyone's in a cult. You know what I mean? Like these are matter of fact things, right? It's like okay, I'm not going to here to convince anybody anymore. If you don't know this stuff already, because the information's out there. If you don't know this stuff, or I can point you to a few videos that are better than watching all the debunk crap. But other than that, there's nothing I could do for anybody. You know, I,
Yeah,
I'm
no,
not a
and
teacher.
again, I think a lot of people, hopefully the people that are legit, they'll watch 100, 200 shows of, these things and just see that it's going nowhere, and then they'll catch
Yeah.
our stuff and be like, hey, look, they're talking about how those other shows are going nowhere, and how, look, they're talking about, more like deeper things and mental stuff, and hey, let's
Yeah.
go over here. Yeah, of course we'll be in a smaller group, but at least
That's right.
the group will be legit, and won't be just
That's
so,
right.
because it's rowdy. Those rooms are rowdy, really, when you think about it.
It is. It's all fights, man. It's all fighting, man.
Even ranties, like, I'm just like, dude,
Yeah.
it's people screaming left and right. You're just trying to get, like, one resolution of a conversation, and just before it happens,
They,
you're on
they
to another one.
they can't. Some people can't separate their emotions from the point they're trying to make. I never got that. Like I don't understand why. Like if you're not listening to me, oh well. Like then you're not gonna get it. You know what I mean? It's like, but some people they get like mad when they can't convince the other person, even though they've benefited the audience, probably 20 people in the audience with what they're saying. You know?
Yeah, well, it's a lot of people because it's, one, or it's their beliefs that they don't realize they're arguing their beliefs, right? That was a
Yeah.
lot with me. I was like,
Yeah.
oh shit. Of course, this is why you get so emotional, because you're trying to
Right.
convince the other person of what you believe.
That's right. Yeah. I can accept that.
Dear Heavenly Father, I turn to you today. I repent of all my sins. I believe that your Son, Jesus Christ, died on the cross for my sins and was resurrected to life on the third day. And forevermore he lives. Father, I ask of you to baptize me with the Holy Spirit right now. Change my heart and renew my spirit. I invite you, Jesus, to enter into my heart. Change me, save me, and be the Lord of my life. Right now, in your mighty name, I pray. Amen.
Amen.